Jeremy paused at the entrance of the dazzling Green Ranch Casino, his heart pounding as he clutched 3 fake chips in his jacket pocket. Neon lights danced across polished marble floors, and the buzz of eager gamblers filled the air. Every security guard felt like a threat, every camera an accusation. Still, Jeremy pressed forward, forced a steady breath, and approached the cashier with all the nerve he could muster. Sliding the chips across the counter, he watched as the cashier picked one up, inspecting it for what felt like an eternity. Jeremy's pulse thundered in his ears, ready to bolt at the tiniest sign of suspicion. But finally, the cashier pushed 3 crisp $100 bills under the glass and nodded. Jeremy tried not to exhale in relief, scooped up the money, and made his exit, quick but controlled. He tore out of the casino and leapt into Morawa's waiting car. "Go, now," he blurted, and Morawa slammed his foot down, sending them streaking into the Las Vegas night, hearts racing, laughter bubbling up as they realized they'd gotten away with it, at least for now. But how did 2 regular guys pull off this kind of hustle against the very heart of the Vegas beast? After all, when someone takes on the casinos, those empires built to rake in fortunes, a part of us can't help but cheer them on, even if we know they're asking for trouble. Today, we dive into the story of Eric Morawa, a Japanese-American builder who never planned to break the law, but found himself remaking the game in the land of neon and chance. It all started in 2000, when Morawa moved to Las Vegas. The city was booming, and as a skilled construction worker, he quickly set up his own contracting company. Times were good. One night after work, he met Jeremy Lewis at a game hall. Jeremy was used to being turned down for work. His record was loaded with offenses, from drugs to forgery, and he couldn't shake his troubled past. But Morawa saw something in him, a willingness to work and a desperation to change. He gave Jeremy a chance, and before long, the two were a solid team. The business grew, and so did their trust. But in 2004, everything crashed. The construction market tanked, jobs dried up, debts piled on. One day, driving past a casino billboard boasting a giant $5,000 chip, Morawa wondered out loud, what does it take to make a casino chip anyway? Jeremy, the ex-forger, immediately drifted to the dark side of his skill set. The conversation quickly snowballed into a plan. If they couldn't earn money legitimately, maybe they could beat the odds another way. Targeting the casinos didn't feel that wrong. It almost felt like poetic justice. They went to work, gathering chips from different casinos, analyzing their structure and materials. They quickly figured out that actually recreating chips from scratch was next to impossible. The ingredients were complex, a secret recipe of plastics, clays, and more. Every detail mattered: weight, thickness, the feel, and even the sound the chip made when dropped. Despite countless failed attempts, their efforts were always betrayed by the heavy, dull clunk of their fakes. Real chips rang hollow, light, and crisp. Frustrated, but determined, Morawa had a breakthrough. What if, instead of making chips from scratch, they transformed cheap $1 chips into $100 chips? The base was the same, just the color and number changed. It was as if the code had been cracked. They learned how to peel off the center labels using boiling water, carefully repainted the chips, and scanned and printed new glossy labels displaying a fresh $100 value. To beat the hidden UV security features, Morawa simply hand-drew a matching invisible hat symbol with a UV pen. Their first test run, $300 chips into the Green Ranch Casino, exchanged without a hitch. $300 cash, just like that. The thrill was electrifying. Now they were off to the races, producing chips in less than 10 minutes each, expanding their operation to 8 different casinos. Still, they adapted their strategy to stay under the radar, mixing in real gambling to throw off suspicion and using clever diversions at the tables to make sure their fake chips could be plausibly traced back to legitimate transactions. As their operation raked in thousands, their lives changed. Morawa showered his family with gifts, his wife's suspicions brushed away by her new jewelry, clothing, and shoes. Meanwhile, Jeremy spiraled deeper into excess, burning through their money on drugs, parties, and wild luxury. But the good times couldn't last. Jeremy, ever reckless, boasted to a woman he was involved with about the scheme. She turned on him, demanding hush money in exchange for her silence. The blackmail began. Morawa and Jeremy paid out thousands to keep her quiet, but she wasn't satisfied, until, angry at being refused more cash, she reported them to law enforcement. One day, Morawa opened his door to a man supposedly retrieving a lost ball for his son, only for the man to arrest him and signal the waiting team. Agents poured in, finding all the evidence they needed: fake chips, paints, labels, and their counterfeiting workshop. Both men were hit with a staggering $5 million bail and sent to high-security prison. Their infamy grew among the inmates. Most had never seen a bail remotely that high. Morawa's clean record and a sharp lawyer eventually got his bail reduced. He walked free while awaiting trial. But Jeremy, with his history, wasn't so lucky. Morawa was staring down a mountain of debt, legal fees, and no way to support his family. Desperate, he reconnected with a Russian gangster he'd met in jail, agreeing to teach him the chip forging craft for a 20% cut, while the Russians handled the risky casino side. But the Russians lacked Morawa's attention to detail. Their clumsy forgeries raised suspicions, and before long, surveillance teams had tracked them straight to Morawa's workshop. The agents stormed in, catching everyone red-handed. Sitting in his cell for the second time, Morawa believed it was over for good. But against all odds, his lawyer brokered a deal. Morawa pleaded guilty to 6 charges, but escaped with only probation and community service. What saved him? The authorities could only tie him to $36,000 in forged chips, even though the real total, according to Morawa, topped $1 million. Most of his chips were so expertly made, they blended seamlessly with genuine ones and vanished into the casino system. Morawa's brush with fortune and infamy changed Vegas forever. Today, every legitimate casino chip is embedded with RFID technology, making counterfeiting practically impossible, a direct response to the vulnerabilities exposed by Morawa's daring exploits. In the end, Morawa walked away, his days of easy money behind him. He admits the thrill and the cash were real, but it wasn't worth the cost. It's a wild reminder of how sometimes a desperate gamble will pay off just long enough to change the game for everyone.